Good morning, everybody. And as you know, I'm Michael Hellickson. I'm going to make sure that I get everybody added in here. And looks like we've got a bunch of attendees. Look at you guys. We also have a couple of panelists, a couple of special guests with me today. This is going to be a great call. I want you guys, if you have questions, get them typed into your questions box right now because we're not going to have a ton of time for questions today. And so I want to make sure that those of you that have questions get them answered. That being said, if you are one of my special guests and you know who I'm talking about, raise your hand so I can find you easily. And let's see, there we go. And there he is. And boom, check it out. I've got with me two of the smartest guys in the world. Literally, and that's not even exaggeration, you guys. This is literally, I got two of the smartest guys in the world when it comes to the art of selling and the language of sales. And Joel hates it when I say that because Keller Williams has a class that he wrote named that. And so we'll call it the language of agreement. But really what we're talking about is, how do I talk to people? What do I say? How do I get more out of the people I'm already dealing with? Here's the thing. I am 1,000% convinced that everybody on this call, your problem right now is not, I need more leads. That is not your problem. I guarantee it. Your problem is you need to convert more leads. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shut up for most of today. I'll participate as much as you guys want, but I want to let Joel and Jesse. I have so much respect for you guys. I want you guys to bring massive value to the buyer's agents on the call today. So right now we have buyer's agents and ISAs on this call. And you guys, seriously, like getting these two on a call at the same time is not easy. And this does not happen. So like you guys are in for a super special treat. So Joel Rico and Jesse Zgorski, thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. I think, Joel, you were on mute. So until you unmute yourself, I'll just talk. There you go.
I got him.
And I'm actually going to stay out of the way also. I'm just really, Joel, I was talking to Michael. We were on an earlier mastermind. This is your show, Joel. I just said I would jump on because Michael likes me doing as a sales trainer, but I'm like, if we have like Joel and Jesse, like I'm excited to hear from you. So I'm going to kind of stay back and then as needed, I'll provide color and things like that, listen to that. That sounds amazing. I'll just be the hype guy.
Cool. Well, that's quite the setup, guys. The check's in the mail, man. I appreciate the setup.
So Joel, dude, just so for background, everybody that's on the call right now, we've got a whole bunch of buyers agents on the call and a couple of ISAs on the call. They're all on big teams. They're all on teams that are dialed in. They're all being coached by us. And so these folks that are on the call today are for real. So
Outstanding. And, I think a lot of people don't realize when they first get into real estate that I'm stealing a quote from Gary Keller, who says real estate is a lead generation business, right? Filling out a contract, selling a house, all that stuff is, obviously you have to know how to do all that. Really, our number one is, Michael, now you're muted.
I just did that because I had to yell to the other room. I need to give me some water.
Got it. I could see you talking and I missed it. So, all that stuff, of course, we need to know. But really, our number one thing is, how do you get more business, right? It's the thing that has people make a lot of money or go bankrupt. It's, where's the business coming from? And I 100% agree with the setup that Michael started with. Most of us don't need to talk to a lot more people. Right? You don't need to talk to a lot more people. My intention is, my personal intention is I want to connect with and close everybody I talk to. And so how do you do that? Well, for me, I'm just really committed to be of service. And what I have found is, well, consider this: when you're in your own world and let's say you're run to the mall, you need a new pair of shoes, right? And you walk into the store and they go, "Hey, welcome to Nordstrom's. What can I help you with?" And you're like, "No, whoa, no, easy. I'm just looking. Hold on." Right? We have that reflex no. Why? Why do you do that? You go into the store to buy a thing and the salesperson meets you at the door and they say, "Hi, how can I help you?" And you're like, no. Like you went in to buy something. And when they say, "How can I help you?" you say no. Why? Because
you want me to have a conversation with you, Joel? I can answer that.
Sure.
I don't like salespeople.
Yeah.
And I'm a salesperson. I don't want to be sold anything, right? And that's the automatic reflex. Even if I went in to buy black shoes and I know there's a specific pair of black shoes that I am going to buy and someone says, "How can I help you?" I'm probably still going to say, I'm just looking.
Mm-hmm.
So the real question, though, Jesse, is why don't you like salespeople? This is really the heart of it. What is it about salespeople, Jesse, that you don't like?
And let me just make a disclaimer, guys. I'm playing along for this. I love salespeople. Salespeople make the world go round. I actually talk to every salesperson ever, but for the sake of this discussion, I'm being the average human being.
Sure.
So as the average human being, the reason I don't like salespeople, Joel, is because in general, I feel like they're pushy and they're going to sell me something I don't need. I'm going to spend more money than I wanted to spend, and I'm going to go buy 6 pairs of black shoes instead of just the one I need. I don't need the left shoe. I lost the left shoe. The right shoe I still have. Can I just buy one left shoe?
So I'm gonna reframe what Jesse just said, which is because it's clear to me, whether I've conceptualized it or not, it's clear to me that the salesperson is working in their own best interest, right? The salesperson is trying to make a sale versus trying to help me. And so I have found that if I just give up trying to make the sale and I just do everything I can to help them, it's a piece of cake. Very quickly, people will realize that you're not trying to take advantage of them, that you're on their side, that you're trying to help, and everything falls into place. In fact, once you do this and they realize that you're on their side and that you're trying to take care of them and you're on their team and you're not trying to take advantage of them, there's pretty much no objections. Clients first. Yep. Yeah,
I love it. Jesse always has the whiteboard handy. I love it.
The way I say that is client-centric sales.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about the client.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So talk to us about how, if I'm a buyer's agent out there today on a team, I've got all my leads, coming in, and I'm generating my own leads as well, right? But I've got a lot of leads that are provided from the company. I've got the systems and the backup and all this other stuff that's provided by the company. I really believe that one of the things that I, as an agent on a team, need to spend the most time on is learning this skill of client first or client-centric sales, and specifically, how do I get those clients to do what I want them to do, which is to buy from me? If they don't buy at all, that's cool. But if they're going to buy, freaking buy from me.
Right. So let me ask Joel a question, because I have a feeling you have a really good answer for this, Joel. If you're a newer agent or you've been doing real estate for 20 years and you're on a team, your income has potentially been up and down. And if you're starting from a place that you're not making as much money as you would like, I've always found people have a much harder time because you're so focused on, but I really need this sale, right? How do you coach people? How do you get them to get out of their own head and focus on the client? Because it's easier said than done, but when you flip that switch, it's magic. How do you get them to flip that switch?
So like all things, what you're asking is really a sales question, right? So how do you get the client to learn this way? How do you get your point across that your seller has the price too high? How do you get a person to shift their mindset? I think this is all kind of the same thing. Like, how do we, as humans, how do we convey a concept to another human such that they get it, right? So I have a belief that nobody listens to a darn word I say.
Except for Jesse and I. We are all ears, brother.
So I truly have this belief that nobody really listens to anything I say, and I have this belief that nobody really cares what I say. And so I believe that the only thing that really makes a difference for people is to ask them a question that causes them to think and to have them self-discover their own solution. I think it's really the only way to have people move forward. And so for this, if I was coaching a new buyer's agent who said, yeah, but oh my God, I got to have this money. I'm running out of money. I got to get a sale. And I can see that moving forward, that they're showing up as they're desperate and people are now afraid of them because they're, oh my God, I need the sale. And I can see that's polluting their business. I would want to come up with a way to give them an experience of how that's affecting them. Like I might say, I know this is not true for you, Jesse, but I might say,
we'll just role play. No, I can be anyone you want. We're good. So I'll be this new agent. I'm short on funds. I mean, this is very common. We recruit agents on our team. We have 3 months of income left, if even that, before we're out in the street.
Yeah. So Jesse, was there ever a time in your life when you were younger and there was maybe a girl that you really, really wanted to go out with and you were like, come on, go out with me. Come on, please, will you go out with me? Right?
Sadly, yes. I absolutely remember at least once, maybe twice or more.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're only at
Missy's like, I never had to worry about that. They were always crawling at my feet.
Jesse, if you're only at 2, I got you beat. So, so did that girl go out with you?
Once no, once yes.
So the one that was no, why do you think she didn't? I mean, you're a nice guy. Why do you think she didn't go out with you?
I mean, back in the day in high school, big surprise, I was not that cool in high school.
Wow.
So the more desperate I was, and the more I was like, come on. I was just trying it out. Before I learned sales, what can we do? Can I go out with you? It was just kind of, I think the energy was kind of pushing her away. It just wasn't, people want what they can't have.
And then has there ever been somebody that was like, come on, Jesse, come on, dude, hook me up. I'll be your best friend. Come on, man.
Plenty. Right.
So especially now, right? Now that you're who's who, right? So now when people are like, come on, dude, let's hang out. Are you inspired to hang out with those people?
Not usually. Sometimes, depending on the approach, but typically, if it's like in a business sense, like a networking sense, that's in some of the worlds we play in. There's a lot of networking, and have you ever seen a dog who really likes a stuffed animal?
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes in networking situations, you meet someone and you are the stuffed animal and they are the dog, and suddenly you're like, I need to get out of this situation as quickly as possible. Only I'm a stuffed animal. I'm an inanimate object. How do I get out of here faster? So I get what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah.
So we call that eager puppy, right?
Eager puppy. There you go.
Don't be eager puppy. Right? But I mean, really, if you come across like an eager puppy, you're pushing people away.
Yeah. So go ahead, Joel.
So that was just kind of the long way around. Like, if somebody's showing up as they're desperate because they're getting freaked out, they're running out of money and their future is uncertain, and they're showing up as desperate to their clients, then I want to give them an experience of, when's a time that you were desperate that you pushed people away, or when was there somebody else that was desperate towards you that pushed you away, and give them an experience of like, oh my gosh, no wonder people don't want to work with me. Like, I want them to have the aha experience. Like,
I love it.
Oh, wow, that.
I already know what you're teaching, and I still had that experience just having you bring me through that and visualize those experiences. That's phenomenal, Joel.
Yeah.
Can I throw out here, Michael? If anybody listening, I just want to make sure people can type in questions. Do we see their questions if they type them?
I can see their questions. So definitely, guys, if you have questions for any of us or comments, anything, just go ahead and type it in the questions and answers box. You can do it in the chat, but it's a lot easier for me to make sure that we get to your question if you put it in the Q&A box. Now, one of the things, Joel, on that note, we call it commission breath. Right?
I love that term.
You show up and you have commission breath. And actually, Ron got hung up on a strategy session the other day because he's like, hey, let's just make sure you don't have commission breath. And she's like, I don't have commission breath. I don't know what you're talking about. Hung up the phone. Apparently that didn't go well. But the reality is, as salespeople, we often have commission breath. And there's a reason, because you're right, Joel, sometimes we got to make our mortgage payment. If we don't get this deal, we may not be able to make our mortgage payment. And so we want to avoid commission breath. So Joel, keep walking us through this.
Well, which not ironically is the very first thing that Jesse said when I said, so what is it that you don't like about salespeople? And he said, well, I think they're going to try to sell me something that I don't need, that I don't want. Right. So that's exactly what happens when people are running away from a new buyer's agent, because the buyer's agent's like, come on, you got to buy a house. You got to buy it now. Hurry up. Right. That's very clearly a salesperson selling for themselves. And it's the opposite of how I see the sales model, which should be, in my world, client-centric, right? All about the customer.
Yeah.
And Joel, and I don't want to beat this into the ground because I know we have a lot of specific techniques to get into and things like that, but this is so important to get this mindset through, that if you get this mindset, like you just said, objections disappear. Right? Yeah. You don't have to handle objections as much if you focus on the client. So have you found, Joel, with working with agents, as many as agents as you've coached over the years, as many of you worked with, have you found that this is a linear approach that once they get it, or do they sometimes go back and forth?
I think most people bounce back and forth a bit. I mean, there are people that have this big breakthrough aha, but very few. Most people, it's like exercise, right? Like I did a 20-mile bike ride this morning, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to ride for the next month. Right? You got to do it all the time.
Right. And the reason I'm asking that, guys, is because I don't know if you know Joel, if you know his name, but he has worked with I can't even count how many agents he's worked with, either personally or in groups and spoken to. And for me, you just echoed my own personal experience with how I've been and the agents I've coached, that you're not going to get this and just it's it forever. You have to continuously remind yourself. You will develop commission breath without even knowing it sometimes. And then you go, oh, why is this not going well? It's because I'm focusing on my interests and not on my client's interests. So those of you who are listening in as a sales agent on this call, don't fault yourself. You're not wrong for doing it. It's very normal. You're right on track. You just have to be aware of it and then figure out how to flip it. Go ahead, Joel.
Jesse said something else really interesting. He said, when you operate this way, Michael, I didn't see your sign.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's true. It's definitely a distance run.
I mean, you think about the top salespeople in the world, in any industry, they are constantly learning, and they spend a lot of money on their brain. I mean, seriously, like I'll spend $70,000 to $100,000 a year easily on this here. That is the most valuable asset any of us have.
Are you talking about your haircut or your brain?
I thought it was facial.
Clearly, that's a $10 haircut.
Okay. Just checking.
So Jesse said something really interesting. He said, when you operate this way, the objections will go away. I totally agree. I'm going to say it a little bit differently. I think when you operate this way, you no longer generate objections from your clients. So the thing with objections is not that you walk into an appointment and then the people have those 4 objections and then you show up and you have to deal with their 4 objections. I don't believe it works that way. I think that you show up and they think, awesome, a real estate broker or agent, broker, whatever is going to show up and help us. And you show up and they go, have you sold any homes in my area? Like, have you been in this price point before? Those kind of questions are because of something that you said or did that caused that objection. So you're creating your own objections. So, for example, Michael.
Yes, seriously, I got to show you, before you give the example, Joel, I got to share. You guys, the first 30 seconds is all it takes to get the listing. The rest of the appointment, it's yours to freaking screw up. And to Joel's point, or whether it's a buyer or a listing, doesn't matter. Same thing. The first 30 seconds, as long as you don't screw it up, you're probably going to get them. But if you screw that up, the rest of the time, all you're doing is creating more objections for them. And now you got to line up.
And it goes beyond that because, Joel, you're blowing my mind. So I've studied sales for at least 15 years. I've been in sales since I was 14 years old.
Nice.
And I do like Michael, I absorb everything. And I've never heard it phrased quite that way. So for those of you listening, I want Joel to say it again because I never conceived of the fact that you are actually generating your own objections because of the things you were saying, the energy you were bringing. So go ahead, Joel. Say that one more time for everyone. That's brilliant.
So let me give you an example because I'm not much of a preacher. So Michael, in the peak of your career, when you told me you did 1 month, you took 100 listings in 1 month.
No, I was only taking 50 to 75 listings a month. That was consistent for about 15 years.
Okay, so so everybody listening, this guy was taking 75 listings per month. Okay, Michael, here's the question. When you were at the peak, when you were at your prime, I'm not saying you're past your prime.
There it is.
When you were at your prime, during this time, how often did you get the objection? How long have you been licensed?
Zero, not once.
Have you sold any homes in my area?
No. Nobody asked about area. Nope. Never.
Have you sold any homes in this price range?
Never.
So why is it that some agents get those objections all the time and Michael never? Why? Because he wasn't creating them.
Yeah.
He wasn't causing them.
You know who Timothy Oliphant is?
The name sounds very
He's familiar. The guy in Hitman, the movie Hitman. He was on the movie show Justified, right? He's like, Timothy Oliphant has swagger, right? He walks into a room and he freaking owns the room. And I'll be honest with you, when I walked into a listing appointment, I was so confident in myself, not arrogant. I don't mean it that way. I didn't walk in like, oh, you're just lucky to have me here. I never did that. But I was so supremely confident in my ability to get that listing that there was no doubt in my mind I was going to get the listing. And because I had no doubts, they had no doubts.
Yep. So I think this is really the key. I think if you come in with, say, for example, maybe this is a listing example. Oh, this is the buyer call, right? No listing examples. So say a buyer goes out and looks at a house and they say, the house is 300,000, and they look at you and they go, well, what do you think it's worth? Right? So they're leaning on you for some direction, and you say, well, man, I don't know. This one over here, 300, God, that seems right. And you have all these opinions. Your lack of certainty and confidence is going to give them pause. Now, they're not going to feel certain. Instead, I'm going to say, well, we've looked at a lot of houses. It seems like as good as any that we've seen. We've lost 3 offers. I don't know. This seems like you should probably buy one before they go even higher in price. Now, feel the difference between that and, I don't know, I might offer 287.5, right? You're generating the problems. So
Absolutely. Go ahead.
it's my belief that the reason why Michael was killing it at 50 to 75 homes a month is because he wasn't generating those problems. He would just walk in and say, okay, let's get this done. Let's take some pictures. Let's fill out the contract. All right, what else do you need to know? Okay, good. Act as if.
So we're covering so much ground. We're only 20 minutes in. I'm really excited. So Joel, if you had some place you want to take this, don't let me take it here yet. But what I'm seeing come together is we've got client-centric, that's your term, right? Client-centric focus.
Yeah.
Client-centric focus, which gets your mindset right, which gets you focused on their needs, allowing you to speak in the language that talks to the clients. Then you've got what Michael just called act as if, and Joel says because you're bringing this energy and confidence, you're not generating objections. Now, if we're okay to transition, what I'd like to do for everyone on the line, because Michael, you guys know the disc test, everyone watching? If you don't, go learn the disc test. It's super easy. Yeah. Michael is a super high D. Michael is like an off-the-chart dominant driver. So when Michael says act as if, that's like breathing for Michael, right? If I took someone who might not be a D, and I'm not going to get into the whole disc thing, but if I got into that and someone said, can you just give me a minute? Sorry. Someone's going in my office. I guess I'm a D also. Hold on one sec, Leslie. She didn't know I was being on a webinar. So if I take someone who's not a high D and you start feeling right now a little tension in your chest, thinking, act as if, but I don't really know. And that's natural, guys. Those of you listening, that would be a normal thought. I have always found that learning skills is what allows you then to act as if. Joel, do you have a similar belief?
Yeah. And this might not make sense for those that don't know the disc test, but I, like Michael, is off the charts D. Mm-hmm. I am off the charts C. Mm-hmm. And yet when I teach and I go do this material, many people think that I am a D because I'm so confident in this material. I'm confident in this material because I'm off the charts C, and I've been teaching this for 15 years, and I'm happy to stand in front of a room of 500 people and let them throw objections at me. I'll field them all day long, right? Just because I'm confident.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not a D. I'm just confident because I've done it so much.
And I want you guys to hear what Joel's saying, because this is not arrogance, you guys. And this is the key. Because he's well prepared, Joel knows his material. He's confident. For you guys, that might be as simple as memorizing 1 or 2 of the techniques that we're teaching you, or memorizing a script or 2 just to get the conversation started. It doesn't have to be complicated. Your confidence level will increase as you become more prepared, and you too can walk in and have that swagger. I mean, I could name off a billion agents that you guys recognize. Mike Bjorkman, you all know Mike Bjorkman. Does he walk in with swagger? Absolutely. Misty Bruton. I got news for you. Misty Bruton walks into a freaking appointment. I don't care if it's a buyer appointment or seller appointment. She's got swagger. She knows that she knows her stuff. It's all about learning and just getting just a little bit better on a consistent basis to increase your swagger level.
I like it.
So, all right. So Joel, talk to us. Take us to the next level. So give us some specific techniques that we can do to increase our swagger, and in a non-offensive, non-arrogant, non-conceited way.
We'll do it as a C. If he's a C, that's how he's going to do it authentically. It'll, of course, like Joel, you leverage swagger because that is your natural thing. Joel doesn't leverage swagger. I mean, not to say you don't have swagger, Joel, but he does it in a very different way because that's authentic for Joel. And I think this is what the cool thing is about this call. Everyone listening is all different types of personalities, so we're going to have a little something for everyone.
Yeah. So I was just going to, I appreciate that comment, Jesse. So Michael calls it swagger. And in my world, swagger, in my high C processing up here, swagger for me feels like it's about me.
Okay.
And my model is like I don't make any difference. So to steal a quote from our old friend Mike, he says the client doesn't care about you, right? So I'm really clear. The client doesn't care if I walk in with swagger or whatever. The client doesn't care. They want to know, are you going to get the house sold? Are you going to help them, get a good deal on the house? So they only care about themselves. And so one of the things that's really liberated me is this belief that the client doesn't care about me at all. It doesn't make any difference. And so, I no longer say, well, here's what I think, and here's my opinion. I think this is a beautiful kitchen, because the client doesn't care. So if I'm not doing that, if I'm not spewing my own opinions, and here's what I think, and this is what we should do, then what's left? Well, in my world, the only thing that's left is I have on the buy side, so I have a person or a people, customer, client, prospect, whatever, and they have a goal over here. They want to buy a house. So for me, my only intention is find out what they want. Like I look at it like a math problem. Like, what do I know? What do I have? What variables are there? And then how do I get them from here to there? And so the thing that liberates me is I'm just morbidly curious. And so when I meet them, I'm like, great. So how long have you been looking? What would you like? Where are you now? Are you paying rent? Do you have a house that you need to sell? Are you renting? Great. What does that look like? What's your credit look like? Have you talked to a lender? Do you have a lender that you want to use? May I refer you my lender? They're awesome. Mm-hmm. So what's your time frame looking like? Has somebody gone over? I can't read that.
He says, I am a creative problem-solving machine.
Oh, I love
it. I figured you'd like that. That's, by the way, Joel, that's an affirmation. So I don't know if you're a big believer of affirmations, but that is an affirmation I used for years and years and years. Every morning and every day, off and on, I would say, I am a creative problem-solving machine. Everything you're describing, I thought you'd like that one. That's why, because if you don't think like Joel, guys, if you are more like, let's say you're a high I and you just want everyone to love you and you love everybody, you might not have the same, like, you just want to talk and chat. And so you get lost in the conversation. And Joel, who's a C, is so systematic. Like, I have to just get to the bottom of this. I'm going to keep asking questions. You can train yourself, even if it's not your natural inclination, to start to do this.
Okay, so that's why, because I'm a high D, high I, right? So I want everybody to love me, but I'm going to make sure I get my way at the end of the day, right? But that being said, I needed more of what Joel has, because I needed to rein in my D and my I, or I was pushing people away. And I was either pushing them away or I was not getting to the bottom line. I was not getting to the result. So that's why I started creating checklists to keep me on track. And so for everything I do, there's a checklist. And that helps me be a little bit more like Joel, to stay on track and still be in my realm of kind of who I am. So I'm still able to be authentic with who I am, but I don't lose I've got to get to that result. Joel, I love these questions you're asking. So talk to us more about the questions you're asking, because now we talked about, on a recent call, I was talking about the Ford technique, and you're like, well, the Ford technique kind of, it feels inauthentic or whatever. But the key is you're trying to find out and dig deeper on and truly be curious about who they are and what makes them tick. Is that right?
Well, yeah, I want to know who they are and what makes them tick. But, the fact if they play golf or football doesn't really make a big difference on me helping them. So for me, it feels a little schmoozy,
Mm-hmm.
like, and I know there are some people that are high I that are really great at that. It's just not my skill set. And so I always feel kind of inauthentic. Like if I'm talking to somebody and something comes up, like they're a skydiver, and I'm like, no kidding. Wow, there's not a whole lot of us. I'm a skydiver too. If there's something that comes up that's authentic and I'm authentically interested, that's different. Mm-hmm. But when I find salespeople that are like, oh, you have a golden retriever? I have a golden retriever. Right. And they I don't know, it just feels a little schmoozy for me. Mm-hmm. So I want to get into I want to know about the client, but I want to know not so much about like, what did they name their turtle? I want to know what's important to them about buying a home. Right. And so the depth that I want to find is, God, we've been renting, and then our landlord sold the house, and then we had to move. And then we had to scramble. We found this house, and then we've been here for 2 years, and we love it. Now this guy's selling that house, and God, it just feels like we're not even in charge of, like we can't even settle into a house. As soon as we, we can't find another one in the school district. Now our new rental, we got to move the kids, and oh my God, right? So that's what I want. I want that piece.
So Joel, I think the question that Michael's asking, because I am more naturally like you, actually. I tend to ask questions in a systematic way because I know where I'm going. When I work with agents, I find sometimes the questions that I naturally think, oh, it's so logical, you just asked this, this, and this, don't occur to some people. How do you train someone to systematically, if your brain doesn't work that way, because it's not right or wrong, it's just a different way. How do you train someone to start thinking about those questions?
Well,
I'm putting them on the. I'll put them on the spot. Where I'm gonna hum the Jeopardy theme song. So you think for a minute, Joel, about that? I'm gonna put something up. So I'm gonna stall for Joel. Can you guys read what I have on the board here?
You are so right about that, Jesse.
Questions. So Joel, while Joel's thinking of how you train someone, how to ask. You got the answer now?
Yeah.
All right, go for it, Joel.
So I have two thoughts about that. So I'm going to come back to questions equal control in a minute, which I love too. So the way in which I train myself to do that is a very simple belief. And it starts with just the belief that I don't know the right answer, and I don't know the right answer for them. And so, there's a lot of people that say, hey, this is how it works, and you do this, and you take these 3 steps, and you sign here, and I'll take care of it. This is my process. This is how I work. I don't know what's right for them. So when I sit down with somebody, I don't know if the right thing for them is, and this keeps me open-minded and curious. So I don't know if the right thing for them is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath starter home in the ghetto, and they're going to get it on a 203K loan and have to gut it and rebuild it themselves because that's where they're at. And I don't know if a mansion in the hills is for them. And I don't know if, the right thing for them is a 4-2 in suburbia and then take the rest of their money and buy some rental properties, or if the right thing for them is to buy a 10-unit apartment complex and live in the manager suite. Like, I have no idea what the right thing is for them. No idea. And so in order to keep myself open-minded, I go in with a blank slate and just say, great, how can I help? What are you guys looking to do? What does this look like? What does that look like?
Can you say that one more time? I was trying to type it while you were saying, because I've never thought of how to articulate this, and that was perfect. And it was something along the lines of like, I don't know what's your mindset? I don't know the right answer. Can you say it again?
Yeah, I have no idea what the right solution, what the right thing is for them. And I have no idea what's the best option for them. I don't know what's the right move for them. No idea.
I love that. I really like it's you're giving me goosebumps, because this is stuff that it doesn't matter how long you've been doing sales, Joel. These are the things that you have to learn and relearn and refocus, because sometimes you do things naturally and you don't even know why they work.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm all about systems and duplicatable results. So if you don't know why it worked, you can't get the same result a second time. Right. If you are in a situation that you approached like this, which is the mindset I wrote down, I have no idea what the right thing is for them, and I have no idea what the best options is for them. That's how your brain then is open to coming up with the questions to even ask. I love that, because I guarantee when I'm working with people and they can't think of the right questions as quickly as I can, it's because they are probably making assumptions on what is right for that client, and they're deciding this is what's best for them instead of coming to it with an open slate. Love it.
You've heard that old thing about assumptions, right? What happens when you assume? Yeah.
Well, and here's another piece of that. A big part of it is we're in such a hurry to solve their problem that we don't take the time to really listen to what they're saying. I mean, you guys are both really passionate about listening, and how, and maybe we could talk about that for a sec. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
That's it. That's the easiest way to remember it. Yeah. Say that all the time. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Go ahead, Joel. You want to jump in?
I think this all ties together, and the key for me is not only do I have no idea what the best thing is for them, I'll never know what the best thing is for them until I ask some questions, and until I ask some questions and authentically listen to their answers. So just a moment ago, Jesse held up a little thing that says questions equal control. I have a quote that I pitch in my workshops all the time. And one of my favorite quotes of all times is, he or she who does most of the talking is dominating the conversation. I want that to be my client.
Mm-hmm.
And he or she who asks all the questions controls the direction of the conversation. I want that to be me. And so this does a couple of things. When I ask a good question, like, so Jesse, what's important to you about having, having a house up at the lake?
I
Right?
just
I get
I
where
just
that's
really think it's a beautiful place.
right. And so his answer is, I just think it's so beautiful at the lake. I just love to be there. So that felt like a little bit of a brush off. I might dig a little deeper, right? So I might say, yeah, Jesse, totally agree. It's beautiful up there at the lake. So if you were living up at the lake, but is this going to be a full-time or a part-time at the house, at the lake?
Full time. I'm actually about to retire.
Outstanding. So congratulations.
Thank you.
So Jesse, you're about to retire and live up at the lake. So what will this do for you to retire and relocate and live up there at the lake? What's this going to do for you, Jesse?
I mean, it's just this, it's something my wife and I, we've been talking about for years, just the lifestyle, but really I'm just sick of traffic. Like where we live now is so congested, and we drive about an hour out to the lake almost every weekend, and every day where I live, it takes 3 hours to go 20 minutes or 20, like what should take 20 minutes. And I'm just sick of it. I'm tired of it.
Wow. I totally feel you, man. I'm in traffic all the time too. It's one of the most frustrating things I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, wow, congratulations, Jesse. So you're about to retire. You're about to get out of this, rat race and craziness and being in traffic. You're about to move into your, this beautiful house up at the lake, and you're about to have this amazing lifestyle that you and your wife have been talking about for a long time. So ultimately, what will it mean to you to have this lifestyle and not be in traffic and live up at the lake?
I mean, for one, for health, I mean, I'm stressed on a daily basis. And so forget about retirement and my job, just being in this congested, it's for health. And so it's just something that I feel like if this is where I want to, life is meant to be lived. And so this is going to get me to a place where I can actually, spend time enjoying it with my family and my
Wow.
wife.
Wow, that's huge. So it sounds like your life is on the line here.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I say we get you up to the lake as quickly as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So from here, do you think it'll be easy for me to have him be stoked to work with me as a client?
I actually want to move to the lake right now. I don't even know where the lake is, but I'm in. Yeah.
So I live about, I don't know, an hour and a half or so from Lake Tahoe. So I have people that are like, oh, I want to go to the lake.
Cool. Yeah, I love it. And those of you, by the way, listening, if you have questions, chat them in. But that felt very real for me. And I love what you said, Joel, that the first one was kind of a blow off, right? Yeah. That you're sometimes going to get that first answer is going to be, they don't feel comfortable with you yet. They're just used to people aren't used to authentically sharing their deepest inner feelings with strangers. They're just not. So the better we get at this, the better you get people to open up. I have a feeling, Joel, that you are someone that when you meet a stranger, you end up hearing about their life in a level of depth that their close friends don't hear within minutes of meeting them, or at least an hour of meeting them. Is that fairly common for you?
Constantly.
Yeah.
He's a walking, talking bartender, man. Come on.
Right. And so if you want to, that's why, by the way, people from the service industry do so well in real estate.
Yeah.
Because they've been trained on this skill over and over. You want to put people at ease and get them to open up, and it comes through asking questions. But if you get to that level where strangers tell you their deepest, darkest secrets that their family doesn't even know, within minutes of meeting them, you'll know you have achieved Jedi Master status.
Yep.
I gotta stop you there. Not if.
When.
Thank you.
When you get to that level.
Thank you. Just the fact, guys, that you're on this call, listening to Joel, learn these techniques, you are already on the path to becoming that Jedi salesperson. Thank you, Michael.
Yep. All right, Joel, I got a question for you. So Phil Heyer brought up a great situation. I love this. And by the way, guys, type in your thoughts on, which kind of scenarios are you encountering that you'd like to have Joel teach you how to overcome. So Phil says, I met these buyers that pulled up in a Subaru and were looking at $600,000 homes, paying cash. I had to truly step back and be patient and listen and talk less. So what do we do when somebody pulls up in a car? Let's say they're in this junky car, for example, and they don't look like they've got any money, and they're looking at $1 million homes. And we're thinking to ourselves, oh my gosh, there's no way this guy's gonna be able to afford the house. So how do we handle that? Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to break rapport. We want to get into rapport and stay in rapport because they might refer us to somebody. But how do we dig deep to find out if they can even afford this without pushing them away?
Really good question. This comes back to something a little earlier is I have no idea what's right for them. I have no idea what they're capable of. Remember, Warren Buffett drives some old piece of crap and lives in a really normal neighborhood. So just because, so this is a salesperson failure. Just because they drive up in a I don't want to say a junky car. You said Suburban or Subaru?
I think he was talking Subaru.
Subaru. So they drive up in a very economical, smart car. There's a lot of people that drive Subarus that are driving a Subaru because they're thrifty and they're putting their money into, a car as a depreciating asset. So really, really smart people that know how to manage their money don't drive Bentleys, right? And so maybe this person is swimming in money. How do you know?
So that's the question. Yeah. How do we know? How do we get to where we can get them to open up and tell us?
I just see a thing popped up on my screen here and it says, go look at Michael's car. What does Michael drive?
Dude, that was wrong. That's funny. 1998 Toyota 4Runner with 300,000 miles on it. I just put a new engine in it so I can give it to my son.
Seriously? That's your daily driver?
Yeah.
Wow, right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
So, hey guys, there's a couple questions popping in, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to jump off in a few minutes, so I'm gonna let you continue to run this. But I wanna send it in a direction where I think you're going anyway.
Yeah.
So Nathan Kern just asked a question, and actually Ron Vitello made a comment first. He said Russell Simmons wears sneakers and jeans all the time. I love that we're making references to people in all industries. Dig it. So Nathan Kern said, what ways do you convey swagger and confidence on the phone while prospecting? So first of all, Joel, I know you don't use the word swagger, you use your own term, but this is back to the specific techniques. Personally, and I'll leave it here, I want to hear your answer, but I'm sure you'll keep going. I believe it comes to scripting, skills, and practice. That's how you develop those skills. So if you don't believe in scripts, I want to hear Joel's thought on scripts. We have scripts in Club Wealth. Right? I'm saying we, but it's Michael. Michael and the coaches all have scripts, and we're all a part of Club Wealth. We have various, doesn't matter what your script is, start somewhere. Make sure it's a good script. Learn the basics. What do you think, Joel? Do you believe in scripts?
Yes, it's a tough question. Yes and no. I think scripts are needed when you're brand new. It's a good place to start. And my issue with scripts is the prospect doesn't have a copy. So they don't follow along. Meaning, I'm like reading my script and the customer, the client, the prospect, they take a left turn and they're over here talking about something else. And I'm like, oh, now what? Right? The scripts generally cause the salesperson to be, focused on like, they're not following along. So in my world, I think the perfect script is maybe a list of 10 questions, right? So a script means that I have some prefab dialogue thing. I don't have any prefab dialogue. That in my world, that makes me feel not authentic. And so what is authentic for me is, what do I need to know to find out where these people are and where they want to go? What do I need to know to help them get where they want to go?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just going to ask them these questions.
Yeah, I'm just going to second that. So Joel actually does have a script. He just doesn't call it a script. It's just a list of 10 questions. It's still a way to organize his thoughts, because depending on there's people of all skill levels on this call. That's why I wanted to say that. If you are newer, or even if you've done this for 20 years, but you haven't gotten the results you want and they're not duplicatable, Joel does the same thing every time. It might come out a little different. The 10 questions might be in a different order because he's internalized them and he knows the flow. But everyone needs a little help knowing where to start. Once you internalize it, then Mike wants to jump in.
Yeah, I do, because you guys, this is a very important topic, and I agree with both of you guys. So when I'm in tier one, like if I'm a newer agent and I don't know what to say, or I'm uncomfortable, or I'm not very confident, then I want to learn some scripts to kind of just memorize some key phrases that I know that when they say, hit me with this, I've got this objection handler in the back of my mind. That's like entry level, right? That's like the base. kindergarten level, right? But so I got to do that though, so I can get a little bit of confidence. Then once I've got those memorized, and then I start getting a little bit of confidence, now I can start moving from scripts to dialogues. And that is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother tier. And that's the goal. The goal is I want to get to where Jesse and Joel and Misty are, where I've got these things memorized already. And I can now not worry about the words that I'm saying, but now I can focus on them and I can focus on their needs and how can I bring them the value they need and deserve right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Script is,
right on, brother. We love you. Thank you for being on, Jesse.
Thanks. So I agree. I think scripts are a good structure. And I like to tell the story. I have a friend of mine that lives in San Diego, and his name is Rodrigo. And Rodrigo is, in the nicest possible way, an absolute freak of a human being. Rodrigo holds 5 separate black belts in 5 separate martial arts. The guy is unbelievable. So think about all the stuff that he had to do and all the stuff that he had to learn. There's a lot of very rigid stuff that he had to do. And now that he's got a black belt in Kung Fu and Saosu and Kempo and Jiu-Jitsu and Sistema, I mean, the guy, he's got the most muscles of anybody. I mean, the guy's chiseled out of granite. And he can do the long splits. And he moves like an invertebrate. So why is it that he has so much freedom of movement? Because all of that structure has been embodied. So that's kind of what I think about scripts, right? You kind of need to know, what are we talking about? Where are we going? What questions do I need to ask? And then once you own all those scripts, right, get them into you as fast as you can, and then forget about them, right? So now I don't have a script. I just want to talk to people. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Thanks for inviting me over. You said that you want to sell and move to the beach. Tell me about that. You know, what are your goals? What are you looking to do? Right. So I just want to like have a conversation. And now I want to just facilitate an authentic conversation, ask lots of questions, be curious, make no assumptions, etc.
I love it. And you're going to be, and I just want to make sure I get this out there. We've got about 12 minutes left, and I want to make sure I don't forget to say this. For those of you that are coming to the Business Strategy Mastermind Conference and specifically the Buyer Agent Bootcamp portion of the Business Strategy Mastermind Conference, hopefully you guys are already all signed up for that. We are literally we're probably about 4 days away from selling out.
Wow.
Seats. Yeah, we had like 48 spots available 4 days ago, and now we've got less than 30 available. So that being said, Joel is going to be there, and Joel is literally going to go and he's going to take a separate session where he's going to go with you as buyer's agents. He's going to spend some time teaching you very specific. Are you doing objection handlers with him, or what are you doing with the buyer's agents? I can't remember.
I don't know. You had me generate a couple ones. I'm not sure which one is for main and which one is for buyer's agents.
I can't remember either, but it's going to be awesome. So you're going to get to see Joel. But the other thing is, make sure that you're there. He's going to be in 2 different sessions. He's going to be on the main stage for one, and he's going to be in Buyer Agent Bootcamp separately for another. But here's what I want you guys to do. From today, the big takeaway that I want you guys to get from our call today is, 1, it's mindset, right? I want you guys to really be thinking about, what do I need to be thinking about when I'm with these people? The other thing is, I want Joel to share with us one technique, just one simple technique that we can implement right now that will make it easier for us to get in rapport, stay in rapport, and so go ahead.
Okay, and then don't forget, we have to. There's a question we had about the guy in the Subaru that we never really answered. So
that's right. We do want to come back to that. Okay,
we'll get the Subaru one too. So one quick tool on how to stay in rapport. There's hundreds of them, and for me, the one that is the most obvious, the most basic, is to just simply pay attention to how fast or slow people speak. That's it. And just pay attention. So I love this example. So consider that you're like Michael, and you're high D, and you got stuff to do, and you're real estate, and you're in sales, and we have things to do. Okay, let's take this listing, right? And you go on a vacation and you fly into Louisiana, and you walk up and they say, "Hey,
yep,
come on in." So here's the thing. This is a tough one. What is your immediate judgment right? Because we're judging machines. What's your immediate judgment about that person? Michael, you care to be brave enough?
I hate to, please don't take offense to this, guys, but the immediate assumption of a high D, fast talker is that person is stupid or less intelligent or just plain.
The PC word, the PC word is they're slow.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? They're slow. And compared to Michael, they are slow. All right.
Well, they could be the smartest person on the planet, but in that moment, my perception is something's wrong here.
Correct. Slow oftentimes gets interpreted as not intelligent.
Right.
All right. So what about the opposite side of that? Right. You walk in someplace, Michael, and you let's say, God forbid, your Forerunner dies and you need to go get another Forerunner, and you walk into the Toyota dealership to look at a new Forerunner, and the guy's like, "Hey, young fella, come on in. We got cars and trucks and 4-wheel drives and 2-wheel drives. We got blue ones, red ones. They're on sale right now today." What's your immediate judgment about that guy?
Oh, slick salesperson. I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. Like,
That's right.
seriously.
So
I'm out.
So here's the thing for everybody to like really let this sink in.
Mm-hmm.
Every single person that you speak to, they speak at a different speed than you. And every single person that you speak to, if they speak slower than you do, their assumption is that you're trying to be slick and pull one over on them. And every person that you speak to that speaks faster than you do, they think you're not very bright.
Yep.
So simple, just pay attention to how fast or slow they speak and join their tribe, right? Get in rapport.
I don't want to move on from this. I seriously, like, I'm very serious. Like, if all you guys get out of this call today is that one thing, it's funny. I started doing this. I started, and I've been learning this stuff for years, and we just had this conversation recently. And so I started doing this on strategy sessions when I'm talking with people on strategy sessions. I got to tell you, it's changed my conversion rates on my strategy sessions. I mean, night and day. And it's hard for me to slow down. I mean, it's really hard for me to slow down. But hang
on, it's even harder for a slow talking person to speed up to your pace.
Okay, yeah, I believe that. And so, you guys, I want you to go back. This is your homework, okay? For the next 30 days. It's seriously, like, for the next 30 days, practice this one technique.
Yep.
Just that. Just match their pace.
Yep.
If you just do that, I kid you not, you guys. Misty, you haven't said, but you've been so quiet but by the way, you have made this a much prettier call. I will say that you've made this a much better looking call than it could have ever been without you. But I gotta say, and for those of you that know Misty, she's not just beautiful. She is wicked good at what she does. Misty, have you implemented this yet? Have you ever tried this technique?
Yes, you guys, I have counseling skills, so this is a big deal. Everything he talks about it comes natural. Well, it probably didn't come natural previously, but I was trained to do this. So, yeah, and I forget, this call was awesome because I forget I need to share these things with my buyer's agents. So, it comes natural to me, but it's not natural.
I'm curious, when they taught you this in the counseling world, how did they show? Like, what was the premise? I mean, what did they say? What was the reason why this is so important as a counselor?
Trust, building trust, being in rapport. I mean, you're talking about, in that situation, you're talking about their deepest feelings and, wants and dreams. It's really not different, but they're talking about, moving into a home that they're going to share with their family. So it's all about rapport and trust and, yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
All right. So, Joel, that's fantastic. We've got 5 minutes left. So here's what I want to do. And Misty, thank you for that, because if it's good enough for the counseling world, it's good enough for us as real estate agents.
Well, we're not very different from a counselor.
I agree.
We're really not.
No, it's true.
We're not that different. We just make a lot more money.
That's the reason Misty's no longer in counseling, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So you guys match that pace. And Ron Vitello, he's like, "Hey, you should put me on camera. I'm pretty." I'm like, "Dude, bro, I love you. No way." I'm just kidding, man. Anyway, so Joel, let's go back to the we've got a buyer that we just genuinely think there's just no way these guys can afford anything.
Oh, the Subaru guy. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I kind of follow the model that I think Michael brought up earlier, is to act as if, right? The guy pulls up and he's like, yeah, we're paying cash for this home. We want to see it. Say, great. Congratulations. I love it when I have, people that are savvy with money and blah, blah, blah. So I love it. You're my favorite kind of clients, right? Act as if. And I might say, so before we can get really serious, instead of sending you to a lender and getting you a pre-qualification letter showing that you can get the loan, we just need a proof of funds. So yeah, no problem.
Now, when you say that, I want to back up. He has not told them this over the phone. This is in person at the appointment where you have built rapport. This is very important, you guys, because there was a post in Lab Coats the other day. I think it was Lab Coats, where somebody said, they got this buyer lead that came in, and the very first thing, it was an online lead, and they text this person back. This person sends them a text message saying they want to see this, expensive house. I think it was $1 million house or whatever. And the agent sends a text message back saying, oh, fantastic. All we'll need before I can show you that is a pre-approval letter or proof of funds. They have no rapport. They haven't met him face to face. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? Why don't you just write down that you are the sales prevention team, right? Because that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
So Joe, go ahead, Joel.
Well, so I got this objection was a little confusing, because what I heard was what I thought I heard was you showed up at a house,
right,
to show that house to a buyer that you don't yet have a pre-qual on this buyer. So right. That in and of itself is a position I probably wouldn't be in. So, I'm not going to meet a stranger, especially for our sisters here that are real estate agents. I advise you to never drive across town and meet a stranger at an empty house.
So, and I'll just say, I'm completely the opposite. So the way that we do
really?
it, buyers agents, is if the first one's free, then you got to pay, right? And so if you've got a pulse, you contact me. I'm in the service business. You want to see the house? I'm going to go show you the house. Now, I'm going to be safe. Misty, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because you're, as a woman, I think you're going to come from a very different perspective here. But let's call it men have been killed at open houses and showing houses. So you do need to practice good safety. That being said, you've got to find that balance between safety and selling something.
Sure.
So Misty, how do you balance that?
I agree with you, Michael. So safety first, but absolutely, we're in a service business. So we just teach, techniques. So when a female, we do focus more. We have very young females that, are probably at a little more risk than the big burly males we have. But, trust your intuition. Absolutely. We go out, we open those doors. That's the number one goal. But just use your intuition. Don't, somebody's calling you and saying, hey, pick me up from a hotel and I want to go, look at this house. No, that's a little creepy. Let's pass that on to a male. But once you get in the house, if you feel uncomfortable, keep your back to the door so you can get out quickly. We teach them techniques, what to do. Don't make dumb choices. Don't get yourself in a corner of the house where you can't get out if needed.
Have your phone on, have the app where you can push a button and it summons the police. Do you know what that app is? I can't remember what the name is.
I do not, but I need to find that out, because we're
actually. If anybody knows that, if you could type it into your screen. Do you know, Joel?
No, I was going to say, you should also, if you're showing a house to a new person that you don't know, I prefer to meet them and find out who they are and get them pre-qualified, and the lender runs their credit and we know who they are. But if you're not doing that, then at least tell somebody in your office, hey, I'm going to show 1234 Main Street to this new person. If you don't hear from me in an hour, right, at least, set up some sort of safety mechanism for yourself, at least.
Right. All right, good stuff, you guys. So here's the thing. We are out of time. Thank you all very, very much for being here. Joel, Misty, especially you guys, thank you so much. And thank you to Jesse, who had to leave early. You guys, you need to come out to the Buyer Agent Bootcamp at Business Strategy Mastermind Conference. Come see Joel. He's a freaking rock star. Here's the thing. Remember, the one takeaway I want to make sure you come away from today with is make sure, no matter what, you begin to match the pace of the person you are speaking with.
Yep.
Start with that. And you will see a massive difference in the results at the end of the month and especially at the end of the year. So, all right, that being said, everybody, remember, as always, inside each and every one of you, there's a world-class beast just dying to get out. You got to choose to unlock that beast. You got to choose to go be world-class. And you may not feel world-class today. You might be having a rough day, rough week, whatever. You just might need somebody else to put a little in your bucket. But guess what? When you go choose to be world-class in any moment, whether it's making your bed or helping an old lady across the street or just writing a nice personal note to somebody, do something world-class today. Hope you have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you on our next one. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.